Hello, welcome to your second video for today. We have 3 rules we're going to talk about. I don't want to waste your time, so we are going to go ahead and look at the first one. All right, so our first rule is a quotient rule. We have x to the power of a divided by x to the power of b. Notice that the bases here are the same. We both have x. If they're the same, then you can just subtract your exponents. And in order to get your new exponent, you'll do a minus b. So for my first one, we have 27x to the 5th divided by 42x. If you want, you can sort of think of this as, let me switch to a pen, 27 over 42 times x to the 5th over x, if that helps you. The first thing we're going to do is let's take care of those numbers out front. I'm looking for a number that goes into 42 and goes into 27. I want to simplify that as much as possible. So if I look at those, I know 9 goes into 27. 27 divided by 9 is 3. 42, I don't think I can divide by 9, so that's not going to be my my least common multiple, or greatest common multiple. And then what else could I put in there? Well, I know I can do 27 divided by 3. I know I can do 42 divided by 3. So that's what I'm going to choose. We're going to do 27 divided by 3. 42 divided by 3. When I do that, I get 27 divided by 3 gives me 9. 42 divided by 3 gives me 14. At this step, you want to check and make sure there's nothing you can divide the top and the bottom both by. So I can divide 9 evenly by 3 and 9 and 1. I can't divide the bottom evenly by 3. 14 divided by 3 will give me a decimal. 14 divided by 9 will also give me a decimal. So that is my most simplified version of my fraction. Now for the part we haven't taken care of yet, my x to the 5th divided by x. We are going to simplify that. When I do that, we're going to do x to the power of 5 minus 1. Again, because they're both x's, I know I can just subtract my exponents. You're subtracting the bottom one from the top one. When I do that, we get 9 over 14, and then x, 4 minus 5 gives me 4. Now that 4 is positive, so really this x to the 4th is on top with your 9. So I would write my final answer as 9 x to the 4th divided by 14. All right, let's look at your second one. We have y squared, all of that to the power of 3 divided by y to the 4th. I'm going to begin by taking care of that squared and that cubed. So we want to cube the inside. Remember, when I'm doing that, I'm using my power rule, which tells me I can multiply my exponents. So on top, we're going to do y to the power of 2 times 3, all divided by y to the power of 4. When I do y to the power of 2 times 3, I get 6. So we have y to the power of 6 on top, divided by y to the power of 4. From here, again, we have our matching y's, which is great. The base of our exponents match. And so then we can subtract our exponents. So we can do y to the power of 6 minus 4. 6 minus 4 gives me 2, so my final answer will be y squared. All right, so our next rule is the negative exponent rule. I clearly didn't change my slide because that is not the negative exponent rule, so I will fix that on yours. But for mine, I'm just going to cross it out and show you. If I have x to the power of negative 1 equals something, in order to make my exponent positive, I'm going to move that to the opposite side of my fraction. So if I have x to the power of negative 1 divided by 1, that is the same as 1 over x to the power of a. Similarly, if I had 1 over x to the power of negative a, I'm going to flip my fraction. So that's the same as x to the power of a over 1. So really, when it's a negative exponent, you're just moving it from either the top or the bottom of your fraction. Let's look at our first example. We have negative 5x to the power of negative 2. I don't want a negative exponent, so I'm going to go ahead and I have to move this whole thing. Oops, that's not a highlighter. That's not a highlighter either. To the other side of my fraction. Now, right now it doesn't look like there's a fraction. Remember, it's really being divided by 1. So I'm going to take x squared and I'm going to move it to the bottom. My negative 5 will stay on top. divided by, and then we'll have x to the power of 2. All right, for this example, we have 4k squared divided by 8k to the 5th. So the first thing I'm going to do, excuse me, I'm going to rewrite this just a little bit differently. You do not have to type this into your notebook. It's mostly just so I can show you what I'm doing. So if you wanted, you could break this into two fractions, one being 4 over 8, the first part, the second being k squared over k to the 5th. And we're multiplying those together. Now, I'm going to simplify both of those. And my next part is what you should write in your thing, your notebook. So the first part, 4 over 8, we know how to simplify that. We want to figure out what our greatest common factor of both those are and just simplify our fraction. So I know I can divide 4 and 8 both evenly by 4. So I am going to start by just making one big fraction and put whatever I find in there. So I know 4 divided by 4 gives me 1, so on top I'm going to have a 1. 8 divided by 4 gives me 2, so on the bottom I'll have a 2. Then for my second fraction, remember if I want to simplify k squared over k to the 5th, because both of our bases are the same, they both have that k to the power of something, we can go ahead and subtract our exponents. So when we do that, I'm going to put it on top for now. We're going to have k to the power of 2 minus 5. At that point, we can continue to simplify. On the top, we have 1k to the power of 2 minus 5, which gives me negative 3. On the bottom, we still have a 2. And you don't have to write that one if you want, just know that it is there. And I think for this problem, it is helpful to write it because what I notice is I have a negative exponent on top. And remember, we don't mess with negative exponents. We want to make them positive. So in order to do that, I need to move that whole thing to the bottom. And that means for my final answer, if I move that, I still have my 1 on top. We have divided by 2k to the 3rd. And then remember that your exponent stays the same, it just becomes positive. So my final answer would be 1 divided by 2k to the power of 3. And that is your answer for the problem. All right, so for this one, we have a new rule. It's the 0 exponent rule. It's pretty simple. Anytime you have x to the power of 0, that is the same as 1. And x could be 2 to the power of 0, it could be w to the power of 0, anything raised to the power of 0 equals 1. So for my first problem, we have 7 times x to the power of 0. Notice that there's a little multiplication sign there, even if it isn't written. The only thing I'm raising to the power of 0 right now is that x. So that tells me that we have 7 times 1, because x to the power of 0, this whole thing, equals 1. When I do 7 times 1, I get 7. So that will be my final answer. All right, for our next problem, we're still using our 0 exponent rule. We have w to the 4th squared divided by w to the 8th. So on top, notice you have a power raised to a power, 4 squared. So we're going to go ahead and multiply our powers together. So I'm going to do w to the power of 4 times 2, all divided by w to the power of 8. 4 times 2 gives me 8, so on top I have w to the power of 8. On the bottom I have w to the power of 8. At this point you can go ahead and use your quotient rule to subtract your exponents. So you can do w to the power of 8 minus 8. Again, I know I can do that because these are both w's and we're dividing. When I do w to the power of 8 minus 8, we really get w to the power of 0. Again, anything to the power of 0 is going to equal 1, and so that's your final answer. Now here's the thing with this. Did you have to show all that work? No. Does it help you see what I did? Yes. If you are looking at this step here and you're saying, yo, Miss Sylvester, you have the same thing on the top and the bottom. It's sort of like you have 7 divided by 7. Remember, anything divided by itself equals 1. So at this point, you could have said this whole thing equals 1, and you didn't even have to do those 2 steps. If you didn't see that right off the bat, that's totally fine too. Work the problem out all the way, and that's like a totally valid way to solve this problem, which is maybe why we should love math, because we can do it any way we want sometimes. That is all I have for you today. Thank you for watching this video. As always, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to your math teacher. We would love to help you.